Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Stepping Up to the Plate. Thank you so much for joining me and my friend Al Prizzuti. I'm Michael Vega, your host. So much to discuss here with the football season well underway now. We've had some exciting news with the Milton High football team and, of course, with the Patriots getting their first win. But right off the top, I want to send a shout out to all the boys down at Stevie's Pizza in Central Square. Guys, thank you for your support watching the show, and thank you for doing what you do every day down there, helping feed everyone who comes through your doors. And we love their chef salad, Al. It's great chef salad. And they just added a new pita bread that's fantastic. At any rate, but just wanted to send a shout out to those guys. And I want to send a shout out to the Milton High football team, Coach Steve Dembowski. Congratulations to the Wildcats. Ranked number 8 now. They're climbing in the polls, Al, in the Globe Top 20 poll, up from number 10 after last week's impressive 42-14 victory at Holliston. It follows the opening season win at Scituate, 42-14, the same margin, and then an equally impressive win at home where Patrick Miller lit it up in a 49-0 win against Framingham, throwing 5 touchdowns. So what did he do for an encore, Al? He throws 5 touchdowns against Holliston. And for that, he gets Division III Player of the Week honors in the Boston Globe. So congratulations to Patrick Miller. He went 16 of 23 for 293 yards. And he had 5 touchdowns to 5 different receivers. And he now has 11 touchdowns in his first 3 starts as a starter. Unbelievable. And Miller versus Holliston connected with Ronan Salmon for an 8-yard touchdown. Nathan Huey for a 57-yard touchdown. Ferris Collins on a 29-yard touchdown. Luke Haley on a 4-yard flip. And then, of course, Will Renz on an awesome 5-yard TD, rewarding Will after he made a great catch for a first down. It brought the Wildcats into scoring position. So the Wildcats now 3-0 will be in a big Herget Division showdown at Brooks Field on Friday against Weymouth, who is also 3-0, entering the game off an impressive 33-21 win against Hingham. And 2 of their big, stars in that game, the quarterback Tyler Nordstrom and wide receiver Dante Torglione. Both of these guys had unbelievable performances against Hingham. Nordstrom, he was 19 of 26 for 295 yards and 5 touchdowns as well. And Torglione, who's a wide receiver, had 6 catches, 153 yards, and 3 touchdowns out. So, you know he's going to be the target for Nordstrom in that game. Big showdown. 2 unbeaten teams in the Herget Division, Bay State Conference showdown here on Friday at Brooks Field. Make sure you get out there, be loud, be proud, all right? And congratulations, and let's go Wildcats. And Al, kind of keeping in the football mode here, I'm going to hand the ball off to you about the Patriots. Al, Al and I were going back and forth. Wow. Al and I were going back and forth on Sunday. We were critiquing the play of Mac Jones, in comparison to Zach Wilson. And Al was not too impressed by Mac Jones's play. But my retort to him was, in a game that is a rock fight, he who has the best throw of rocks wins. And I guess that was the Patriots.
Well, the only thing I can say about Wilson, on the last play, he threw that ball probably 70 yards.
In the air, yeah.
In the air, into the end zone.
And it got, oh my God, Al.
That could have been
Oh my God, Al.
So let me put Mac Jones in the same spot. His throw probably would have went 45 yards and fallen on the 15-yard line with the runner, a receiver waiting for it at the
end zone.
He can't throw long. The only pass that he threw for a touchdown, incidentally, was a lob over the line that only went about 12. That kid ran.
Pharaoh Brown, the tight end, yeah. But you know, Al, you got to credit him for recognizing the coverage, and then seeing that they were singled up, and they moved the safety, and they blew their coverage, and he immediately pounced on that.
So I look and say, what won that game for the Patriots? Their defense won. They didn't have any penalties, any stupid penalties, no fumbles, no interceptions, and stuff like that. That won the game for them. Jones did not win the game for them. And so the offense, in my opinion, is non-existent. Now, whether they can beat the Cowboys, which I think they could beat the Cowboys, they could have won 2 of those games this year.
They could be undefeated, Al.
3-0.
Al, they could be undefeated right now.
Let me put it this way. The kid he's a long way from being a franchise quarterback. Let me put it that way.
All right, 3 games in, Al, though. 3 games in. All right, let's look at the big picture here. 3 games in, their first 2 opponents right now are lighting the world on fire. All right, the Eagles and the Dolphins, who hung 70 on the Denver Broncos, but were life and death against the Patriots. Mm-hmm. All right,
defense.
Tyreek Hill was, and you know who was covering him? Christian Gonzalez.
Gonzalez has been their player. So
he's been drawing rave reviews from people, and rightly
no question about it. But the defense is winning for. Look at Uran on that play that he spun off of the guy to tackle the quarterback in the end zone, which put him up by 5.
Judon, yeah.
That kid's a player. He's a big player.
No doubt.
When he has to make the play, he makes the play. So I think credit goes to the defense.
And you know what, though? Zach Wilson may have looked not that great because he was going up against that defense and there was nowhere to throw the ball.
Yeah, but here's the well, look at everybody else has gone up against it. The defense is the defense, and they're decent. But I believe what Joe Namath said. This kid did some things that I would say, what was he thinking when he went down? Nobody even touched him. He falls.
Yeah.
He could have made a play. He could have thrown the ball out of bounds. He drops on the ground. He's either not ready, or I think he was the second pick.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And I think Namath hit it now. Everybody's trying to defend him like Rodgers and all these people. Of course they have to.
They have acted already now and gone out and gotten a quarterback in Trevor Siemian, and so they've done that. And so I think they're hedging their bet now.
What the Patriots did too on Sunday that they hadn't done is they used Stevenson and they used Elliott.
Yes.
A little more than they did in
the run game and the pass game too. Yeah.
The running and the pass game. And Stevenson can catch the ball, so can Elliott. And, Elliott's a blocker, but the other kid, he's 250.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's a player, that kid.
Yeah.
And if you give him an opportunity, if you let him run the ball 10 to 15 times a game, he's going to get 80 to 100 yards.
Elliott is going to go into this week's game against the Cowboys super motivated.
It should be interesting.
Let me tell you what, he's going to want to show that these guys should not have given up on him.
I mean, he's only 28 years old on top of it. I mean,
he still has some, there's some mileage on him, but he's still got a lot more to give.
Yeah.
There's a lot more left in the tank, and I think that's what he's going to go down and show.
The right offense with another back like Stevenson, that's going to preserve a guy like Elliott. He's not the
he wound up, and that was a case in Dallas where Tony Pollard was his backup, but then Pollard surpassed him.
Well, yeah, but what you got to when he came to the Patriots, he said, "Look at," and I'm sure that O'Brien and Belichick said, "Look at, you're not the guy. You're one of the guys." That's a big difference for him.
All these games out this past Sunday, the one that I had my eye on too was the Cardinals and the Cowboys for obvious reasons, and then it just struck me that it seems like gravity has visited the Cowboys. They've come down a little bit.
It's a big game this weekend, though. Buffalo game is going to be huge.
Yes, no doubt.
I think that's going to be the game to watch.
And the Jets and not the Jets, but the Dolphins and Bills. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, the two premier teams. I think the Dolphins have gained some traction.
This is going to either say to the Dolphins, you're there,
or
you're not,
right?
Or you're there's parity.
And the Bills,
Bills have to come.
The Bills, it's going to be a sobering moment.
Right.
We're not the team that we thought we were.
Where is the game? Do you know? Is it in Buffalo?
I think it is.
If it's in Buffalo, Buffalo will win the game.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah. I mean, it's a tough place to play, as we all know. But like as I said, gravity visited, I think, the Cowboys in a loss to the Arizona Cardinals, who were a putrid team a year ago. But now, under Jonathan Gannon, their new coach, they seem to have gained some momentum. The Colts, under their new coach, also won. They won against the Ravens, which is pretty impressive because as you recall, a couple weeks ago, I selected the Ravens as one of my Super Bowl teams, But and then in the college ranks, oh boy, did gravity visit the Colorado Buffaloes. Oh my God. I think so many people were rejoicing that outcome, Oregon stomping on the Buffaloes. But now we get to see what kind of coach Deion Sanders is. Yeah. Because you know what? They got a pretty tough game this week against USC. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be a tough game. And Texas, my Longhorns, they're rolling along. I'm representing today, as you can see. And they 3-0 now, and they got Kansas. I think they're going to handle Kansas. They're in Austin, so it'll be an interesting game. Boston College, tough loss at Louisville. They got doubled up 56-28. Oh my God.
That could have been 56 in the first half.
Oh my God. I knew they were going to get smoked over there. Yeah. They've never done well at Louisville. But it'll be a tough row for them. They got Virginia. I picked Virginia in the picks this week. Mm-hmm. I'm moving away from BC. I'm in the lead, Al. By the way, I'm the leader in the clubhouse. But it's an exciting time of year, and of course, with all that's going on, and even more exciting, Al, the Bruins. They're back on the ice. They're in training camp, but they played a couple of preseason games. Yeah. And last night we got to see them against the Sabres.
Watching both of the preseason games, which were really one 3-0, Bees won, and then against the Rangers. This is an opportunity to take a look at some players. The guys that I think stood out, and I think he belongs in the NHL, and he might be a fourth line. Oscar Steen. The kid is aggressive.
Yeah.
And he goes to the net. And if he'll find a way to score. He won't score 40 goals or anything like that, but he'll be a 20, 25 goal guy. Beecher, he's got some speed, this kid, for a big guy. Yeah. He goes by guys. And
I like the size, the speed combination.
Laurie is going to be either a call-up mid-season or he'll be next year for definitely. The kid is he's like Brandon Carlo, and Carlo's kind of been his mentor. Carlo now with 4 years, with the club.
Unbelievable.
This is his 5th season. So, but they're very similar. Both 6'4", 6'5" guys, long stick. They play similar styles. I'm hoping that both Carlo and, because they're so big, have to be also physical.
Yeah.
And I think Lucic played last night.
I love seeing that.
Watching these games, you just look for what guys can do. Now, I was a little surprised that Fabian Lysell doesn't seem to come out too much when you're watching the game. He didn't play all that much. Laurie played over 19 minutes last night. So they're really looking at that's how you can tell. If they get a lot of minutes in preseason, then it's going to be probably the next game as well.
I think they know what they have in Lysell, so they probably don't want to expose him much.
I don't know. The question for Lysell was, is he big enough and tough enough to play with the big guys? Yeah. And I heard Montgomery talking about what he's looking at with players is, you're playing with the major league, so to speak. Yeah. So to play well down in the minors, if you will, is a lot different than every game playing up against 3 or 4 lines that are pretty good.
Yeah.
So I think we'll see the kids play the next game little less, and then a little less, and a little less, and then you'll know after the next game who's going to be a potential guy that's going to stick with the Bruins. The goalie last night, I don't blame him for any of the goals.
No.
Because
there were some defensive letdowns.
So I think Buffalo was, but you got to remember, Buffalo played with their starting team.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Taj Thomas was playing. I mean, he's
Thompson
a tough
is
guy.
like unbelievable. That guy's and their power play. They rolled those guys out there.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that's okay if that's what Buffalo wants to do. Maybe they don't have enough kids that they want to look at. The Bruins are looking at it from a different direction.
Right.
So
developmentally, I think they were probably looking.
Now
at
they
this
opened
game.
the season on the 12th, I think, of October against
Sabres.
Chicago.
No, don't they play the Sabres again?
They play the Blackhawks at home and Taylor Hall.
and
my favorite
Foligno,
players.
isn't it?
And
Foligno's
with them too, but Foligno's on the tail end. He's on the back nine, so to speak. I don't think Taylor Hall's ready to be. He's maybe on the 10th hole, not on the back nine. The 18th.
No, Taylor Hall, man, he's still got
some game. And so anyway,
looking at him and Beecher, I'm wondering if Beecher can eventually become that.
No, I don't think he's got. What Taylor Hall brings is he's an intelligent, physical player. He can score goals. He can set up goals. He's always back checks. He's a two-way player.
Yeah.
He's a Bruin.
Yeah.
That's what the Bruins were. That's kind of like Cam Neely.
I would have moved heaven and earth to keep that guy.
Well, I think they thought they were going to sign Bertucci, and they think Bertucci was going to give him 25, 30 goals, and he leaves, and the salary was the key there.
Well, yeah.
They were both making $5. Bertucci wanted $5.
They were looking like
they were making $2.5.
Yeah, they were going to invest more in Bertucci, the guy who left.
Which I think was Bertucci's record in the playoffs is why the Bruins wanted him.
Well, yeah.
But Taylor Hall was an MVP of the league. He was the number one draft pick. I don't know. I think they made a mistake.
Those are talents, and you could see Al. I saw the same thing you did. Yeah. I loved him when he was on the ice. I loved what he gave this team when he was on the ice. He elevated every line he was on.
The only thing with Taylor Hall that I think they wanted him to score more, and he had stretches where he was blanked.
Right.
He didn't score for like 10 games, which they wanted a little more consistency out of him. And he's an emotional type player. So, when he's into it, and big time. And when he's not, you need to kick him a little. But, I mean, hey, we'll see. Hockey's a different type of game.
It is. It is. And so glad that it's here, Al. Can't believe that it's here, Al. Already.
I know. Well, you turn in September, all of a sudden you got, the guys going to camp and all this stuff. And then it doesn't seem like a big story.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you watch a couple of games and you see some players and you go, I wonder if he's going to be.
And then they draw you in.
We'll see. This is a big year for Montgomery, though, because.
Really?
Yeah.
It's only a second year out.
But what
are you putting him on the hot seat already?
No, but what I mean by that is nobody knew who he was. I didn't say anybody. Anybody in the Boston area didn't know who Montgomery was. Didn't know his background well. Right. Then they bring him in and they go, "Who Montgomery? Who the heck's this guy?"
Yeah.
And then he wins 65 games. So what I'm saying is he's on the hot seat. Is this team doesn't have the same potential to win 60? If this team wins 52 games.
Success.
That's a great season.
And you're in the playoffs?
Yeah. And they make the playoffs. If they stumble big time, and if the goalie stumbles, not Swayman, what's his name? Swayman.
Linus
the other one, Linus.
Yeah.
Then, you could see this team struggle to get to the playoffs. But if they get there, look at what Florida did.
Yeah.
All you have to do is get there.
Unbelievable, Al. And the Bruins made their decision on a captain, Brad Marchand. Who else was going to be the captain, Al? I mean, you had some guys, maybe, Charlie McAvoy.
Well, I listened to Cam Neely, and I listened to them talking about Sweeney talking about the kid, the decision. And it was interesting that the questions that came from the crowd, from the press were, is he going to be controllable? Is he this and that? And I thought Sweeney handled it better than Cam, because Cam was kind of like, we got to watch him. We've talked to him and all this stuff.
Yeah.
I think he's always a question mark because he's a firecracker.
Yeah.
I think Charlie McAvoy would have been a very consistent type
Yes.
of guy
Yes.
that speaks to the press in a different industry. Isn't one of these flamboyant kind of guys.
Right.
I would personally think it's a great choice because Marchand is what's left of a Bruins team that was,
Yes.
Yeah,
he brings that. He brings that sense.
Two things with Marchand, though, you got to be careful about. People forget he had a double hip operation before the season started last year. They didn't think he was going to play until Christmas.
It took him a while to get up to speed.
He came in, and then it took him a while again. The other thing is he's losing a wingman that he's had forever.
Yeah. So it's gonna be interesting to see how he adjusts not only to his new role
Will he score
as a leader and then
35 or 40 goals like he's been doing,
Right.
or is he now going to be a 25-30
who centers
guy?
his line?
No, that's going to be Pavel Zacha is going to be the number one center, in my opinion. I don't think it's going to be Charlie Coyle because Coyle, well, there's a difference. Zacha had a great year last year, but
Yeah.
Zacha was a fifth pick in the draft. So this kid can play and had potential to play. I don't think Charlie Coyle would have ever been a first-round pick.
No.
But what he is a worker.
Yes.
And it's going to be the draws are down. They're going to be down because you had Krejci and Bergeron that were in the 59 to 63, 64. And now you've got Pavel and Coyle are in the low 50s.
So who do you project their first line to be, their top line? Zacha centering Pasta and Marchand, right?
It could be, but what's going to have to happen there is a balance. You got to have somebody. See, putting Pasta in with Pavel Zacha, which I think he'll want.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not sure Marchand is perfect for that line because they're different types of players.
So you make that the second line?
Well, Charlie Coyle can handle.
Or would it be possible to put Marchand on the second line and elevate someone else?
No, see, but I think what Coyle could handle Pasta because Coyle's a disher. I mean, he's not a goal scorer.
Yeah.
And he can find
Pasta likes to set up on that.
The issue is
that left dot, man.
It's going to be an interesting thing to see how that all plays out and how they play it out. You got to have continuity. See, I always was a guy that said lines are important. Continuity is important.
Yes, yeah.
We used to have years ago the Uke line and this line, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You don't see that as much where they move guys off for different reasons. So.
Well, I mean, you had the perfection line, and then the check line.
The check line was, I think Krejci was due to retire. It didn't bother me as much as I thought Bergeron would come back for another year because I don't think he was. I think he had another great year.
Yeah.
Okay? He still won the Selke last year. The guy can still play. I know it takes, he's got young kids.
Yeah.
You want to, at some point, say, I've done what I had to do. I'd like to see my kids grow up, and you're on the road all the time.
And he's, well, not only that, I mean, his body's telling him.
Yeah. And I think Krejci sat out a year from the Bruins and came back on a kind of a limited contract. Yeah. So I wasn't surprised when Krejci
I think he came back specifically to try and help Bergeron win a cup.
He came back for one reason.
Right.
To play with Pasternak. Well, he wanted that whole Czech thing, Pavel Zacha. They're all friends, and they all, all from Czechoslovakia. So anyways, we'll see what happens there.
What do you now? Maybe pivoting here to what's going on at Fenway with the dismissal of Chaim Bloom now, and the vacuum that it's created at the top of the front office, and it looks like they're moving now. Different names have come up. There have been internal candidates that have been kind of bandied about. One that I didn't think was ever possible, or two that. And you might disagree with me, Al. Billy Bean, I think that ship has sailed.
Yeah.
Theo Epstein, he's been here. He's done that.
I think they'd like to get Theo, but
as much as they'd like to, he's been here. He's done that. That's what is playing in his mind, I think.
Yeah.
But the guy I think that came up, and I thought, yes, makes perfect sense. I mean, there was Eddie Romero is one. I like that. But then when Sam Fould's name came up, this is a guy who's from New England. He knows the culture. He knows what this team means. He was a fan of this team when he grew up, played against it in the major leagues. You know, a brilliant guy. Now he's the GM there in Philadelphia. Came up through the ranks in the Rays organization. So I think he has some elements of that they like. And he also has the elements of you know, having a history or having an intimate knowledge of what it takes, you know, to be successful.
I think that the kid that left and went to San Diego.
Or Mike Hazen, you mean?
Hazen
to
is
Arizona.
Because
that's another one, yeah.
He's coming out. I mean, he's up. So the Red Sox are going to go right after him. I think he's probably in the kind of fold.
Yes,
mentality,
and I think he has a leg up on Fold because he's been here in the organization,
and he knows
better than him. Yeah.
I think the bigger issue for the Red Sox, though, you know what's going to happen here? I mean, everybody hated Chaim Bloom, including me. Okay, I wasn't a big fan, but what he's done to the farm system
was bolstered up, yeah.
Has loaded them. They've got about 8. I mean, I went through this the other day. 8 or 9 or 10 guys that are in the top, if you're looking at baseball, 150 players.
Right.
Okay, they've got some guys down there that can step into this team either next year or the year after. So he's built a future for this team.
Right.
So, you know, it's going to be like in retrospect, everybody's going to go, you know, Chaim Bloom didn't do a bad job because he brought these guys in. But it's going to take a while. And I'll tell you one thing about Boston. Boston's not a city that waits.
Nope.
So what he didn't do, though, was put a team that was competitive. Don't forget, they were going to win 78 games this year. They won 78 games last year. They finished last place 4 of the last 5. They missed the playoffs 4 of the last 5 years. That
front line pitching, Al. Front line pitching.
And
you had front line pitchers here already. Michael Wacha, you know, very good pitcher. Nathan Eovaldi. You know, could not let him walk.
Even Rodriguez. I mean, you can say what you want about Eduardo Rodriguez. He went to Detroit. He started the season as a good pitcher. Yeah. So what has to happen with the Red Sox, though, is they have to get an identity. For years, they have been a team that could hit home runs, and the pitching was so-so, and they'd win games 7-4, 7-5, like that. They have nothing. They have no pitching, and they got some hitting. They still hit some home runs. If you look at it, Devers hit, 30?
30, yeah.
You got Duvall. You got Casas. You had Tom. What's his name?
Justin Turner.
Turner. That's some hitting.
Oh, no doubt. I like the core that they have. You know, I want to see them keep them together.
But just think about
and
this.
And then you got some young, talented players. I mean, Duran, you know, Rafaela, the other kid, Sedani.
I'm not sure about whether these guys are like somebody was saying, it's nice to have 30 home runs, 25 home runs, 33 home runs. You don't have a guy like Schwarber who could hit 45, 50 home runs. But like the Yankees, the Yankees, as bad as they are, have Aaron Judge.
Yeah, they do. Well, we're going to wrap it up on that note, and we want to thank you for joining us here. We wanted to talk a little bit about Ryder Cup. I even brought my Italian ciabatta, and Al wore his Italian hat as always. But we'll catch up to that next time here on Stepping Up to the Plate. All right, everyone. See you next time.